I'm just setting it up on YouTube Live. Give me another second for that. Well, maybe give me more than a second for that. All right, here we go. Hey guys, welcome again to another Friday meditation workshop. I'm really glad you're here. I'm glad that this space is still available to us because I need this today. I need a good meditation this afternoon. I've had a challenging day up to this point. So I welcome you all. And I just want to, we're here to work on our meditation to experience like an hour of alignment every week. Like if this is the only time you meditate, I wish you would meditate more often throughout the day, throughout the week. But you know what? Even just this hour every week, if you repeat it over a long period of time, starts to percolate. It starts to become a habit. So consistency is the key. Certainly every Friday. Also, I encourage all of you who are here now to join us also Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Every Sunday, we do an inner alignment workshop. We're here in the meditation workshop, we're more focused on the inner cycle, drawing ourselves inward. On Sunday, we focus on habits and behaviors and character traits and aligned action. So it's a little bit more of the outward focus. So it's a nice balance, Friday afternoons and then Sunday mornings. And I encourage all of you to take advantage of that. So for now, before we do we're going to do the light body meditation today. And before we jump into this meditation, I just want to give you a little bit of an update or a little bit of a background. So, one of the things that I've been working on, and I want to acknowledge Brian for helping with this the last couple of weeks, is we've been thinking about when new people show up, they come to a meditation session like this. It's nice, but they feel like everybody else already knows what they're doing. They're already friends. I'm the new person. So they might come once and then unplug. Or they might come into the circle community and never even come to a live event. Now, personally, I believe when you come here, you should find your own way. Just click on things, watch a video, ask a question, go into the chat. You've got to take responsibility for your own progress, which means you have to push forward, you have to put in some effort. You've got to, if you want someone to help you up, you got to reach your hand out and then people will help you up. So I believe in initiative and self-reliance and taking the first step. Having said that, apparently only about 15 or 20% of people agree with me because the vast majority of people show up and then like, oh, what am I supposed to do? I'm here. How come nothing's happening? Well, of course, they are getting a welcome email. They're getting welcome messages. They are being led into what to do. But I think we as a collective, and me personally, need to do a better job welcoming people, onboarding people. And so Brian and I have been thinking through a process, and we're kind of creating like a level one curriculum and then a level two curriculum and a level three curriculum. So the level one curriculum is about life alignment, like life 101. How do you just be a better human? And it's more than just meditation. Meditation is very important. I personally believe that to rise your consciousness, to develop a stable, aligned life, you do need a meditation habit. Need to be meditating, if not every day, at least 3, 4, 5 times a week. And if you don't have a solid meditation habit, you're not really making any improvements. You're not really, you're just not going anywhere. You're just thinking about it, but you're not actually bringing your inner self to alignment. But this onboarding process, so anyway, when people come to us, I think they recognize the brand as like a meditation brand. So like we're here to meditate. But I want to share with you that this onboarding process, this level one curriculum, meditation is only one piece of it. And it's an important piece, but there are other very important pieces, such as, for example, health. You've got to establish better health habits. Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. Another one is character, values, and principles. You have to start to create a moral compass so that you can start to know what you stand for. to start to know that, to start to align your behaviors according to a moral, what do you stand for? What are the values and principles that you really stand for? Um, being like activating a sense of self-reliance in yourself. That's another really, really important thing. You've got to activate this idea that no one is coming to help you or to save you. No one cares what happens to you in the future. There's a very limited group of people who care about you, and that's you and you alone. If you don't step up, if you don't do the work, if you're not self-reliant, if you're not disciplined, nobody is going to be over your shoulder telling you what to do. Even a group like this is what's called a loose connection group. We only see each other once in a while. Usually it's this kind of a format. We're kind of a lecture classroom format. There's not a lot of socialization. There's not a lot of, although over time, we kind of get to know each other. So I'm not saying that, but this would be defined as a loose collection or a loose group, a loose organization, a loosely connected organization. So it's especially important that you take responsibility for yourself. Another big part of the onboarding is this move to start to think about how to simplify your life, how to just kind of, okay, I don't really need it. My kids have this phrase, you probably heard it. It's called FOMO, fear of missing out. We need to get rid of that. This idea that you need to be anything except who you are, that you need to be anyway except the way you are, that you need to be anywhere else except where you are, that you need to have anything else except the things that you already have. This need to move into some other identity or some other reality is what's causing a lot of stress and strain. So this idea of simplifying your life, getting rid of this idea of FOMO. And I also have to be honest and fair. When I was in my 20s, I did want to travel around the world. Now I'm in my late 60s. I'm good. I don't need to get on an airplane and, fly for 9 hours and, deal. I just don't need that. I don't have FOMO. So I'm kind of grateful that I passed all that. But younger people do need to get out. They need to explore. They need to see the world. I understand that. But by the same token, I'm asking you to start to simplify your life. Simplify the circumstances in your life. Simplify the relationships in your life. Simplify the food that you eat, the diet that you eat, your food preparation. Simplify your chores and your obligations and responsibilities. Simplify the inputs. Just start to simplify your life. And by simplifying your life, it allows you, instead of spreading your psychic energy over a million different things, you can concentrate on doing a few things, the things that are core and important to your life well. The other main area of the onboarding, so, we've talked about meditation, we've talked about health, we've talked about character, values, and principles, really being clear about what you stand for. We've talked about simplifying. We've talked about self-reliance, being self-reliant, creating the new habits, doing the work, pushing through the discomfort. Another really important one is mindset. Now, it may sound similar, but when I say mindset, I'm talking about recognizing the massive amounts of negative self-talk that's going on in your head and replacing that with positive, optimistic talk. What do you love about yourself? What are you excited about? What do you love about your kids? Instead of complaining about your kids, why don't we make a 5-page list of all the things we love about our kids? Let's start looking for the optimistic things in life, the positive things in life. The negative things are very apparent, but we don't have to dwell on that and put all of our energy and identity into these negative things, right? We need to be more optimistic. We need to create a higher level of a self-image. I'm the kind of person, thank you for that, John. I'm the kind of person who makes time to meditate every day. I'm the kind of person who, does deep breathing in the morning, in the night, and throughout the day. I'm the kind of person who stretches. I'm the kind of person who's really careful about what I eat. I'm the kind of person who gets out every day and takes a walk, rain or shine. I'm the kind of person who lives up to my potential, right? Talk yourself up, talk your kids up, talk your work up, like be that optimistic person. It doesn't cost you anything. And yet one person's optimism ripples out and it creates other optimistic people. And you realize that you've been influenced by it by positive people. You see that, like, yeah, that guy made me feel good. I like being around this person. I like the way I feel. I'm so happy this guy's now working for the company. It gives a whole new energy. You can be that person. You can be that high energy, optimistic person. There's no reason why not to be. And it's just a matter of choice and, more importantly, intention. I want to intend to be that person. What do you love about yourself? I could go on and on about what I love about myself. I show up every time. I keep working, even when nobody else shows up. I keep working. I keep pushing. I have a mission in my head and I won't let it go. I'm like a dog with a bone. I'm a great husband. I really care about my grandkids and my kids. When I work, I put all my effort and positivity into the work. I do my best for the company. So I have a whole long list of things I love about myself. I've passed that stage. I'm not down on myself at all. I'm up on myself. And I want you to do the same thing. Be optimistic about life. And here's another thing when you start getting healthier, when you start meditating, when you start choosing your values and principles, when you start simplifying your life and just making your life a lot less stressful, guess what? The truth is, the best years of your life are ahead of you. They're not behind you. Okay, you might have done amazing things. You might have been the greatest person in the world. But the truth is, now that you're taking control of your inner work, the best years are ahead of you, right? And especially together as a collective, as this grows, as it solidifies, as this becomes more and more manifest, the best years of our lives are ahead of us. I'm 1,000% convinced about that. And I'll also tell you that even with the disruption in the world and the negativity and the anger and the blah, blah, all that, war and violence and all that stuff, I see it. I see that. But that doesn't mean that my best years are still ahead of me. My healthiest years are still ahead of me. My happiest years. I get to watch my grandkids grow up. I get to go to my grandchildren's wedding. These are the best years of our life, and they're happening not by random, and they're not happening because we're feeding off of the negative energies of the third dimensional world. They're happening because we're establishing intentions inside ourselves. And this is all possible. Like this is all doable. You can take your cues from the outer world and keep looking for something to be happy about. And I'm sure you'll find a lot of things, but you'll also find a lot of things to be negative about. What I suggest you do is just blur out whatever's going on around you. Create a little bubble around yourself, a self-development bubble, and make the intention, I'm going to be the best human I can be. I'm going to be happy, healthy, abundant. I'm going to help people. I'm going to lift other people up. I'm going to be kind, generous, compassionate. I'm going to be appreciative of the things I have and the things that the people that are helping me. Just make that's what you focus on, and you'll realize that you're establishing a brighter future for yourself. So I urge you, to just be optimistic. And then the final one is we all have an obligation to the collective. We all have an obligation to the organization to plug in, and you guys are here, right? So you're plugged in, you're fulfilling your obligation. You're here, you're in the chat, you're in the, reading the, watching the replays and all that. You're showing up. That's plugging in. And we have an obligation to keep plugging into the collective. Why? Because if everyone stops plugging in, the space goes away. And then it's no longer available for the next person and the next person and the next person. There's probably 4 or 5 people here who were not here a month ago. And the only reason they're even here is because the several months ago we created the space and we've been holding the space. We've been fulfilling our obligation to the collective so that the next people will have this opportunity. So I really want you to consider to be in the collective. It doesn't mean, well, I'm in the collective. That's not words. It's actions and it's energy and focus and attention and light. Plug in, put your light and energy into the collective. And so those messages all combined and more, there's a lot more things, are going to be part of this level 1 training. Notice we didn't get esoteric. We didn't get into, enlightenment or ascension. We're just talking about how to be a better human, like a user's manual on how to live a better life. Things that we should have been talked about, the inner things that are important. So that's this level 1 training system or book or workbook or series of videos or courses. I don't know how it's going to take shape, but you guys can all be part of how we create that. And what I'm going to do is when we get actually on Sunday morning is when I'm going to do it. I'm going to share on Sunday morning the headings, the outline of this book, this onboarding book, and we'll be discussing that. And so we're going to keep brainstorming and kind of fleshing out what should be in this section, are we missing any sections? So you guys actually will have a voice and an opportunity to provide input on that book or that onboarding sequence or whatever, however it manifests. So that's what I want to share. So that's what we will be talking about on Sunday morning. And I would imagine, I hope we talk about that every Sunday morning until we get the book published. And everyone who's been around for a while knows that, publishing books, I think, is a really important way to preserve this wisdom and then allow other people without always having to be me all the time. We allow other people to read and other people can jump in and be instructors. So I think once we have this material knocked out, I think we'll be on a much higher platform. Just in the same way that the Meditation for Life book was written, as soon as that was written, that just became an evergreen. We just keep repeating those meditations over and over and over again. And not in a bad way. They need to be repeated. You need to be reminded of it. They're really important. But once you have the book, once you have the material, then the classes, the live events, the posts all flow out of that. So I'm looking forward to having this giant compendium of level one onboarding. Like, how do we get people started? So I hope you're on board with that, and I hope you're going to help me. And I'm not saying you have to. I just would be great. Anyone who wants to help with that Sunday morning is Sunday mornings over the next couple of weeks is when we're going to keep working on that book and keep making sure that we have all the things that we need to be included in that book. Level two is different. Level two is not for everybody because not everybody wants to be enlightened. Not everybody wants to ascend. Some people just want to learn how to breathe or meditate or just take a breath and stop being so stressed. They just need someone to kind of anchor them. So level one is just, kind of getting your life in alignment. Level two is going to be about all of these different enlightenment systems, like the Taoist, meditation of light, the Vedic teachings of the chakras and the energy flow, Tibetan Buddhism teachings of clear mind, the Sri Yantra, all of these enlightened, like Mat, the Egyptian concept of Mat, these would all be level two concepts. And that would be for the people that want to go further. Level three is going to be by invitation only, it is by invitation only, and that is for people that want to experience these higher dimensional energies. We're going to experience today fifth dimensional energy, but my true advice is ignore the fifth and the third dimension and focus on the higher dimensions, the seventh and the ninth dimension. And we've been doing that every Tuesday night by invitation. So if you're consistent with being here on a weekly basis, you'll get invited to level three meditations or level three conversations or discussions. And that's where you'll really actually experience these teachings. You'll actually be able to experience them, feel them, anchor them in your bones, anchor them in your body. So thank you for that. Thank you for letting me go on about that. Appreciate that. That's it. Take the lid off. Tuesday night, we just take the lid off and we just go as high as we can go. And that's a beautiful thing. So another important thing, and why I think it's important to have this in books, not just videos, not just recordings of sessions like this, but it needs to be in books that people can buy and write in and, do worksheets and, keep habit trackers and things. I think it needs to be in a book because I really believe this deeply, that one of the most important missions of our collective is to preserve this wisdom for future generations. And there's two ways to preserve it. Number one is share this wisdom with a small group or a medium-sized group of people who become lived examples of this wisdom. That's really important. You can't just have a book without people that have absorbed it and are starting to live this wisdom. And we also need to preserve it in book form, and which also ties into my concern that, especially in America, we are losing the literacy battle. We're losing the literacy battle. There's a lot of very negative forces pushing against literacy, like AI and videos and people that don't want you to read books and people that don't care about books. My own kids don't read books, which means their kids aren't book lovers. Because my own kids, they read on their phone or their iPad, and so these kids never hold books in there. I'm not saying they never hold books, but I can see how generationally, over the next 20, 40, 60 years, literacy will be much lower than it is now. And I think books are really important. And I think books about inner self, about self-development and, becoming a better human are the kinds of books we want to create as a collective. Thank you for that. All right, today we're going to do a fifth dimensional meditation, a fourth and fifth dimensional meditation. We'll do the whole fourth dimension and then we'll do the fifth dimension. And we're going to experience this light body that we have. You'll see how it works. So without further ado, let's go ahead and do that meditation. Just relax. Stop projecting. If you're holding on to any stress or energy, just let it go. Just let everything flow out of your body. Just take another 10 seconds and just come to complete relaxation. Now, I want you to be twice as relaxed. And one more time, be twice as relaxed. I want you to close your eyes and notice that even with your eyes closed, you're most likely still projecting outward. You're looking outward, even though your eyes are closed, you're wordifying, you're seeing pictures. It's a very subtle shift. In Taoism, they call it reversing the light, reversing your light. It's a very subtle shift, but I want you to reverse your attention from outside your being to inside your being. This is called your inner sight. And you can play around with that. Look, project outward, reverse inward. Project outward, reverse inward. This is a little tipping point that you can start to master. Just keep practicing this, and you'll always be able to, every time you meditate, whether you hear my voice or not, I always want you to start by reversing the light to your inner awareness. This is called your inner sight. And every enlightenment system I've ever seen has this concept of looking inward, inside your own being. Once you capture your attention on the inside, I want you to sink it deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. So your focus, attention, awareness, your energy is inside your being. I want you to find your diaphragm using your inner sight. And just observe several breath cycles and recognize that your diaphragm is a pump. What is it pumping? It's drawing oxygen and life force, chi or prana, from the air that's outside. And every time your diaphragm expands and pushes down, it creates a negative vacuum. And all that fuel, which is fuel for your body, the oxygen, the chi, the prana, comes into your lungs. And then when you're ready to exhale, your diaphragm relaxes and all of that waste product, the carbon dioxide, gets pushed out. And then again, another cycle of oxygen and vital life force coming in, waste product going out. It's a pump. And it operates in tandem with your heart. When the heart sends deoxygenated, depleted blood cells, red blood cells, to the lungs, they draw in the oxygen, the chi, and the prana. The red blood cells get all fat and happy and excited. They go back to the heart, and then boom, you get pushed out. These fat, happy, loaded red blood cells get pushed out to every cell in your body, giving them the fuel they need to do their job. And just notice your physical body is this pump. These two main pumps, you also have several other pumps in your body as well. But these are the two main ones by far. Now, I want you to actually go one step further. I want you to take control of your diaphragm, and I want you to slow your breathing rate to about 3 breaths per second. Calm, guided inhale. Your diaphragm is expanding like a frisbee, pushing out in all directions. Hold it at the top of the breath for 2 heartbeats, and then let the diaphragm expand slowly. You're in control. And the exhale. And when you're done with the exhale, push your diaphragm down, not push in the sense of using muscle, but just control your diaphragm to expand. And know that once your diaphragm is in your own control, you can experiment with this right now. You can stop the breath halfway or at any point. You can stop the breath because you're controlling the diaphragm. Breathe a little bit deeper on this next inhale, not in a forceful way, just in continue the diaphragmatic expansion, continue allowing it to expand. Now, all of you have heard the fourth dimensional meditation, so we'll cut right to the chase. I want you to imagine that you are above the clouds. The clouds beneath you represent mind. The third dimension is a dimension of the lowest vibration. That's the dimension of mind. And everybody below the clouds is operating subconsciously. You are above the clouds. Your consciousness is above the clouds. And you are a sovereign being of light. You have the ability to choose any thoughts that you want. For those of you working with the cycle of mind, you can lay your thought matrix right on the top of the clouds and watch how these thoughts that you're now choosing sink into the clouds and percolate not only into your own being, but just the very idea that you had those thoughts and you put them in mind, those thoughts are actually percolating to everybody, even though they may not be aware of it. The third dimension is the dimension of mind. You are above mind. Your consciousness is separate from your body. You can actually look down at your body and see that it has no mind of its own. It has no agenda. It won't move until you give it permission to move. And from this fourth dimensional perspective, you can plant seeds into that body, into that life, into you, your avatar. And you can actually change the trajectory of your life. And what do I mean by planting seeds? New habits, new routines, new priorities, new thought frameworks, new ways of being. And I want you to see that the universe operates in long rhythms and cycles, very long rhythms and cycles. In the third dimension, we're not aware of these longer rhythms and cycles, and so we're always in a rush. We're not working with the rhythm of the universe, we're working against the rhythm of the universe. We're not allowing our thoughts, our efforts to percolate and really grow. We're not allowing the seeds that we plant time to take root and grow over time. So I want you to start working much more patiently with your work, with yourself, with this inner work, with your meditation practice, with your health. Be very, very patient. Be patient with your children. Be patient with everything. And understand that be patient. And when your intentions are clear and your actions are aligned with those intentions of health and happiness and harmony, being a good person, learning, experiencing, growing, advancing, when your actions are aligned with all those good intentions, they're going to take root and they're going to grow and they're going to pay dividends in the future. Stop looking for specific results. I want you to be really clear that your consciousness is separate from your body. It's most clear when you're hypnotized. Now, the problem when you're hypnotized is you're unconscious, you're asleep. You're not unconscious or asleep now. You're hearing every word I'm saying, and you're aware of what I'm saying, and you have conscious choice. But a hypnotist will pull your consciousness out of your body. Your body just slumps down unconsciously, and then the hypnotist can move you with his voice to a different reality. For example, could say, you're an ancient king. You rule over a vast kingdom. Your wealth is vast. You're the best king that's ever lived. And all of a sudden, your body, when you're hypnotized, your body will stand up more straight. You'll take a regal nature. You become that timeline. You become a different person because you've been given a different instruction. And now your body is adapting to this new consciousness that you have. And the hypnotist might say, okay, forget about being a king. I'm going to move you over here. You're now a dog. I want you to bark like a dog. And you, your consciousness, your body acts that out. Your body becomes what you tell it to do, what you program it to do. Now, we don't need a hypnotist to pull our consciousness out of our body. We realize we can move and just become anything that we want by simply doing the aligned work over and over and over repeatedly, we begin to become more and more like the person we want to be. Same body, different programming. And from this fourth dimensional vantage point, you look around, there's blue skies all around. What does that mean? It means nobody's playing defense. You can do anything you want. You can program that body down there to learn anything you want, to be any way you want, to be healthier, to be a better parent, to read different books. That body will simply respond to your suggestions and instructions. Nobody's playing defense. In this fourth dimensional world, it's a frictionless plane, and you have all the power in the world, with the asterisk, that you have all the power in the world to change yourself. This fourth dimensional power doesn't work on the stock market or politics or your kids or your mother-in-law. It doesn't work on changing anybody else. But you have all the power in the world to make any changes you desire in your own life stream. Nobody's playing defense. Nobody's stopping you. What does stop you is the subconscious comfort zone, and you get stuck in your head. That's what stops you. But there's no other outer forces that are stopping you from being healthier, being a better parent, being more clear and aligned on your values and principles. No one's stopping you from simplifying your life. No one's stopping you from being more patient. No one's stopping you from being more active in the collective. Nobody's playing defense. You are completely autonomous. What is it? You're an aligned being. You're a being, a sovereign. That's the word I'm looking for. You're sovereign in the fourth dimension. In the third dimension, when you lose this consciousness, you're just running around on autopilot most of the time. So our goal is to take this level of clear consciousness and try to hold on to that for more minutes and hours throughout the day. So we're not always running on autopilot. We can't help that. You will be running on autopilot, but there are other points in the day where you can remind yourself to be clear and calm and more in control. And so you need a meditation practice in the morning to at least get 10 or 15 minutes of quiet time in the morning. Try to extend that quiet time throughout the day. Throughout the day, practice these things that we've talked about: disengage and linger, recognize and adjust, be more aware of your presence. And then, of course, at night, I recommend another 15 or 20 minutes of just alignment and balance, breathing, meditating, stretching, reading the book you love to read, playing music if you like to play music. Do something that's aligned and quiet and calm in the morning and again at night, and then try to find as many moments as you can throughout the day. And from this fourth dimensional awareness, that's much easier to do. Once you lose your consciousness and you go back to, you know, subconscious behavior, that's harder to do. But what we're doing is planting suggestions now, giving you muscle memory now about these experiences. So through the day, you can say, oh, wait a minute, I can be in the fourth dimension right now. And then relax for a second, be aligned, no need to rush, no need to do anything, just enjoy the bliss. And you can do that. And nobody's stopping you. Now, there's blue sky all around, but I also want you to notice the sun overhead. We're going to say that's the fifth dimension. And so anybody can make this shift to the fourth dimension. It's a 2-minute meditation. It's just changing your mindset, just changing your perspective, looking at yourself. Instead of the world rushing at you, you can rise above that and see that you're part of the world, and you can start to control where you go in the future. You can start to create your own future. Anyone can do that. That's the fourth dimension. It's nothing more than a mindset shift. But the fifth dimension and higher dimensional energies are something different. It's a mindset shift, but that's not all it is. These higher dimensions also require that you bring your body along for the ride. You have to learn to recondition your body, remove stress, remove tension, clear space, bring your life into balance, because if you don't do that, you can't anchor these higher energies. In this case, we're going to do this fifth dimensional energy of light. We're going to experience that. You'll experience it, you'll understand it, but it's hard to anchor it if the whole rest of your life is out of balance. So you've got to be balanced. You have to convert from a head-centered approach to life to a heart-centered approach to life. Head-centered means I have to know all the answers. I have to know how long this is going to take. I have to be able to convince people and understand everything and explain everything to people and try to change people. And no, come on, I have to understand everything. Hey, needing to understand everything before you even do anything. That's head-centered. Heart-centered is the opposite. I don't really need to know what the end result is. I'm just enjoying the experience. I'm allowing the waves and the energies of the universe to just flow through me. I'm not expecting any particular results. I'm focusing on my journey. I'm not worried about all these other people. I don't need to jump in and try to fix everybody and change everybody and convince everybody. I'm perfectly happy just watching other people go on their journey. I came to my journey in my time. They'll come to their journey in their time. Well, the best thing you can do is bring your own wavelength into balance. So you've got to be balanced. You have to learn to be heart-centered and more accepting or receptive or more surrendering might be the other word. And the third thing you need to do is you need to shift from away from you doing this for yourself to understanding the idea of collective consciousness. We are ascending together. If you ascend as an individual, well, yeah, of course, you're going to be happier, healthier, more aligned. No problem with that. You are going to get personal benefit. But what you don't see is as you're ascending and doing all this work, you're creating a channel of energy that didn't exist before that other people can follow, a template, a ladder. My gosh, if she can do it, I can do it. If 100 people are doing it, it's obviously possible. If nobody's doing it, it might feel impossible to you. But once you break through, other people now can follow that energetic pathway, even if they've never met you, even if they've never talked to you or heard about you. There's now an energetic pathway that exists. So the more people who ascend, the more people can ascend. And we're not ascending for ourselves individually. We're not ascending for that body down there. That's just an aspect. That's the lowest aspect of it. We're ascending for the collective. And even beyond that, we're not even ascending for the collective. We're ascending for the earth. Because every time you become a clearer channel of light, as we do this light body meditation, you're going to be a clear channel of light. Every time you clear your channel, the earth's channel gets a little bit better. And the earth can ascend a little bit more. And when more people are clear channels of this energy, the earth can ascend more. So we're actually ascending for the planet. And remember, we don't live on this planet, we are the planet. That same energy that flows through the earth, the same life that's us. We're part of that. We're part of the light grid. We're part of the energy grid. We're part of the magnetic grid. You're not separate from it. You are that grid. You're part of it. And so when we ascend, we help each other ascend. And when that happens, the whole earth itself can ascend. Those are things you need to keep in mind. So let's now experience this fifth dimension fully. I want you to imagine that light over your head. That's the fifth dimension. The fifth dimension, whereas the third dimension is a dimension of mind and vibration, the fifth dimension is a dimension of light and crystalline structures, not physical structures, but crystalline or light structures. And that light above your head, that's not just a light, that's the light of the universe. That's the light that's projected into the universe. Some of that light is projected into you. That's the light of the universe. And as you rise up toward that light, the minute the light of the universe touches the outside of your energy field, I want you to open yourself up and absorb the full light of the universe into your being. Just imagine that light descending through the crown, through your head, through your shoulders, your heart, your torso, all the way down to your legs. And now you are in that light. In fact, when that light percolates in you and you allow it inside, you become that light. There's now no difference between that light of the universe and you. You are all of it. I want you to know that in this dimension, your skin is not a boundary. So I want you to allow that light to extend as wide as the sky. You are all of it. All of the light is in you. You are the light. It surrounds you, it's within you, it is you. There's no difference now between the light of the universe and you. You've broken all barriers and borders, and the light is infinite in all directions in you. I want you to shift your mind's perspective to above the earth, like you're a satellite or a rocket ship traveling above the earth, outside the atmosphere. And I want you to know that there is a very real web of light that surrounds the earth. We see this occasionally with the northern lights, the aurora borealis. If the sun's in the right direction and the earth's in the right direction, we actually can see this light, but this light surrounds the whole planet. There's an envelope of light that surrounds the whole planet, just as there's an envelope of light that surrounds you. And I want you to see that web of light. And when you get closer to it, you realize it's nothing more than a series of individual points. You are one of those individual points of light. And now your light is much brighter. Millions of other people, they're still a point of light, but it's dim. They're not connected with it. You're now flowing that light. So your part of the light grid is flowing, and that energizes and powers the entire light grid. That makes the whole light grid more powerful. It makes the earth more powerful. It helps the earth ascend to these higher energies. I want you to see all the people in this room are also points of light on that grid of light around the earth. And now I want you to link arms with the 10 people in this room, and I want you to see how your light, the moment you link arms with everyone else, your light just magnifies and gets infinitely brighter. And together, as even just a small group of people like this, you can see how we can generate a tremendous amount of light. I also want you to know around the world there are hundreds of millions of good people, honest people, good parents, healthy people, people that really care, empathetic people. I want you to link arms with all of those people, and together we can build the light grid around the earth. I want you to just feel, surrender, remove all borders, remove all stress and tension, and just allow this infinite light, the light of the universe, to just be with you. I want you to feel also like you encompass everything, that you are the light of the universe and you encompass everything. As you inhale, I want you to feel the light entering right into your third eye, right into the pineal gland, supercharged with light. And as you exhale, inhale again, and the light, the pineal gland fills with light. The ajna chakra, the third eye chakra, fills with light, glowing light. And this light communicates all the way down your central channel. The whole central channel is lit up with light. Play with the light. I'm going to give you 2 or 3 minutes. Just be with yourself. Play with it. Play with your breath. Play with the light. Play with this feeling of expansion. See yourself infinitely, the light of the universe surrounding everything. Feel that light of the universe right in your heart or in your third eye. Just keep playing around with these energies, the light going up and down the central channel, whatever feels comfortable for you. I'm going to let you do that for 2 or 3 minutes. Now I'm going to ask you to come back to lower consciousness again, but before I ask you to do that, I want you to know that when you come back to lower consciousness, I want you to keep, this is muscle memory. I want you to do this meditation over and over again until this expansive feeling of light, this beautiful feeling of light and free flowing and connection with everything. I want that to start to become the normal way you experience your day to the best you can under the circumstances that you're in now. So I want you to realize what we've done. We took our consciousness with our eyes open in the third dimension, lowest level of consciousness. We pulled our consciousness up to the fourth dimension and realized that we are much more than our body. And now we've moved our consciousness into our light body, into our expansive light body. And then in this consciousness, we can play with the light. We can move it around. We can have a game with it. We can make love to it. We can just enjoy this experience. And it should be easy and fun and like, wow, that really felt good. That's the way I want you to feel. And when you come back to 3D consciousness, I want you to see how you can hold on to this feeling, this expansive feeling. Don't just go back on the roller coaster of your subconscious autopilot. Try to hold on to this expansive feeling. And now you have anchors that you can hold, you can come back to. You can come back to the fourth dimensional anchor. You can come back to the fifth dimensional anchor. So see your consciousness in the fifth dimension. This is who you are right now. You've always been this body of light. You just don't pay attention to it. You're so stuck in the lower vibration, you're not aware of this higher vibration. But when we pull ourselves out of it, this higher vibration becomes available. And there's higher vibrations above this, higher frequencies of energy. And notice you didn't have to go anywhere to experience this light. You didn't have to ask anybody else how to do it. It's right there. It's always been there and it always is there. You are a being of light if you can rise your consciousness to that understanding. So I want you to see your consciousness in the fifth dimension. I want you to see your consciousness in the fourth dimension. I want you to see what happens when you drop that and you let your consciousness go back into the third dimension, how you immediately lose all that knowledge and experience. That's why meditation is so important, because you need to do it over and over again to create muscle memory. So these higher understandings become more normal. They just become who you are. They're not a special thing that you did once. They're something you do all the time. And now they percolate, and these higher levels of awareness and consciousness and experiences, that's just who I am now. I just own that. That's part of me now. It's always been part of me, but I've always been closed off to it. Now I'm open to it and expanded to it, and I'm experiencing it and playing around with it. And I want you to do this over and over again until you get what I call muscle memory, where this just becomes something that feels normal. Amazing every time, but normal, just a part of you. And that's the point of this incarnation, is to learn to rise yourself out of the lowest vibration and recognize your true nature. Recognize your highest possibility. Ascend so you don't have to keep coming back and not ascending. Just now is the time. Just do it. That's what we're here for. That's why we chose this incarnation. As the Buddhists like to say, this is an auspicious incarnation. It took a long time for you to get this incarnation. And you happen to have been born in a perfect time where you have access to all types of information and knowledge and books and wisdom, things that 99.99999% of the people in the world have never had access to. You have access to it. We have access to it. And in the collective, it's our mission to preserve this wisdom for future generations so that anyone can have access to it. You don't have to learn to speak Sanskrit for 20 years or speak Chinese to read original Chinese documents. Just pull the wisdom right out of it and start living in that wisdom experience. And remember, I want to go back to the first thing I said where we started. Meditation is only a part of your journey. It's only one part. There's many other aspects that you've got to weave in. It's more like a wheel, like a spinning wheel where you've got to focus on your meditation, you got to focus on your health, you have to focus on your family, you have to focus on your work, you have to focus on your mental state, all of these things. It's almost like a wheel. It's almost like pedaling a bicycle. It's not one thing that you can do over and over again. It's a series of things that you need to do over and over again. All of them, they're all important. And that's one of the things we'll be doing with that book that we're going to be creating and working on starting on Sunday, we've been working on it. We're going to continue to work on it on Sundays. It really comes to me. It's not one thing or five things. It's like a wheel. It's always have to be doing all of these things. You have to be aware of all the aspects of your life, bringing your relationships into balance, bringing yourself into inner alignment, being clear about your values and principles, simplifying your life, going to work, doing the laundry, all of these things. You've got to do them all. You can't escape any of them. And if you try to escape them, then you're going to only focus on one or two, and you're going to be out of balance and alignment. So this wheel is kind of like it's hard in the beginning. It's like pedaling a bicycle. The first few pedals are like, you got to really push, stand up on the pedals to get the thing going. But then once you get going, it becomes a little bit easier and a little bit easier. And once this wheel starts spinning, now it's going to start to spin on its own momentum. That's now when your subconscious starts to remind you to be healthy. Your subconscious starts to remind you to be more patient. Your subconscious reminds you to, hey, this is too complicated. I'm going to simplify my life. Your subconscious begins to talk to you about the things you put in there because that's what you're trying to do. That's what the cycle of mind is about, to get ahead of it so that your mind is now working for you instead of working against you. You want to go one way and your mind and body want to go in a different direction, your subconscious. We've got to put new seeds into our subconscious until this becomes aligned, and this alignment becomes our default. This alignment starts to become our comfort zone. Being healthy starts to be normal and comfortable. Being a really good parent becomes normal and comfortable. Simplifying your food and your lifestyle is normal and comfortable. Meditating, normal and comfortable. Optimism and loving yourself and being high on everybody else and being excited about the world, that starts to become normal and subconscious. So that's the goal. I don't want you to think we're only here to meditate. There's a lot more to it. But this meditation is really the most important thing because if you're not opening up this inner world, you're just going through life. You're not really connecting with the inside. So it's really important that you connect with the inside. Then it's really important to understand that that's just one aspect of this work. There are multiple aspects of this work. I so appreciate you guys. I so appreciate that this space is here. I needed this today. I know Mary needed it today. Hopefully, some else of you really needed this today. And I really encourage you because the real point of this workshop is to remind you to do this work on your own. Do this tonight, tomorrow, tomorrow night, next morning, Sunday night. Stay plugged in. Stay plugged into the collective. Stay plugged into your practice. Stay plugged into this momentum that you're creating. You're really doing the right thing by being here, doing the work. You're creating momentum. Just keep pedaling until the bicycle starts to roll down the street by itself. That's what we want. That's what I wanted to share with you guys. Um, Showing up for yourself. Damn right. So again, I'm really glad you're here. Let me just shout out. Nina, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. I see you. I see you working. Kendra, you were here last week. I love you. I'm really, really happy you're here. Fraj, I love the fact that you're so deep. You add I got to come to you for Vedic wisdom, to be honest. You know more about that than I do, and I love the fact that you're here and you're absorbing this and obviously experiencing something good because you keep coming back every week, and I really appreciate you. Carolyn, I love you. You're awesome. I hope you're feeling better. I really do. And just I want all the best for you. Debbie, thank you so much for adding your energy to the collective. You're just amazing. As we talk about Debbie, our best years are ahead of us. We're on the older side here, but our best years are ahead of us. Brian, thank you so much for your help with the books and for your steady commitment. John, words cannot express how much I love you and appreciate you. And Mary, I am so thankful for your energy and your the way you plug in and she's always here 5 minutes early. You guys should take a lesson from Mary. She's here 5 minutes early. She's awesome. So I want to clap you all up for showing up for yourself, being good parents, being good caretakers, whatever it is you do, whatever it is you got to do when you go, we'll leave this call, be the best, man. All right. I'm going to say goodbye. I love you all, and I'll see you Sunday morning, 10:30 a.m. You won't get an invitation. You just got to go to the event calendar and make sure you're registered for that event. Love you all, everyone. Everyone have a great rest of your day.